Okay, is there a number, this sounds like the intermediate value theorem, it just starts out with that wording. Is there a number, C, in the closed interval, because the intermediate value theorem and the mean value theorem, they both deal with this idea of there is possibly a value. That's what those two theorems are all about. So when it says, is there a number C in the closed interval, I'm thinking one of these two, such that G prime of C is -4. Well, you could actually, it's possible you could use either one, because they want me to identify if there's a value of G prime being -4 on this interval. So I check right here. Let's see. X equal -5 to x equal 3. So I'm looking at this interval. G is a differentiable function. -4. Okay. The intermediate value theorem is not going to work because I have a value of -3 and a value of -1 and a value of 4. The value I need of G prime is not between any of these values. So G prime, I can't use the intermediate value theorem and say that there's a value of G prime that can be -4, because the only values of G prime I know, they don't surround a value of -4, so I cannot use the intermediate value theorem. So I'm going to have to try the mean value theorem, which means I look at G and I pay attention to the secant slope here, and I notice right away from 10 to 2 is a drop of 8. Okay, so I'm paying attention to the secant slope on G, and I notice a drop of 8 over a span of 2. That's a secant slope of -4. Secant slope on G. So secant slope on G of -4. The mean value theorem says if there's a secant slope on G over some interval that has a value of -4, then there will be a tangent slope on G that also equals -4. To justify it, here's what you have to have. So this is the question. You don't have to write this again. Is there a number C in the closed interval? I just put that because it reminded me of both the mean value theorem and the intermediate value theorem. This is a good problem to talk about both. If you are using G prime to show that G prime can be -4, that's the intermediate value theorem. If you're using G to show that G prime can be -4, that's the mean value theorem. So that's what we're doing. We're using G to show that G prime can be -4. So I have to write, since G is differentiable, therefore G is continuous. The grader expects me to write that. Then the grader expects me to show the appropriate secant slope on G. Then all I have to do is say by the mean value theorem, and I just copy their words. There is a number on the closed interval like that. You just copy that directly. 2 points for this problem. They usually give 1 point if you correctly figure out you're supposed to find this secant slope. Then if you have all the right wording, they'll give you the second point. So 2 points total.